Continuing the Farbrengen of Yud Beis, no, not yet, not yet. Yud Beis Shvat, 1954. The Shabbos after Yud Shvat, which is a very long Farbrengen, and the Rebbe spoke to people privately towards the end of the Farbrengen. We're sharing some of those conversations. So you recall that yesterday we left it at a cliffhanger, and what was it? So this fellow, Pinyaltos, this colorful figure, the Bokayach, representative of the Frierdiker Rebbe, then the Rebbe Tech Yisrael. So maybe I'll just remind you, he says to the Rebbe, he'd been speaking about Tzidak Gudas Chabad that he'd founded in Eretz Yisrael, and he would eventually establish in America. By the way, Montreal, all of the Shluch in Quebec, for that matter, also the Western Canada, Toronto as well. It's all Tzach, it's all Tzidak Gudas Chabad. There's Americas and there's Tzach, two primary head organizations of the Babich. At any rate, so the Rebbe was talking about establishing. These are the early years. So he tells the Rebbe the Rebbe should take him into. He wants to be part of the boys. The Rebbe said, "What can I do? You're appointed as an officer." He said, "Make me a general." The Rebbe said, "No, a general, and a simple foot soldier. That's one that could, but an officer that's." So the Rebbe, in that context, it speaks to him about his kashrus. About his kashrus. Of course, the Rebbe speaks about his kashrus. He's talking about the previous Rebbe. So while the Rebbe is talking to Pinya, he turns to the older Chassidim behind him, and he says to him, "You had was meret? Meret meint eich. Are you listening?" He's never talking to me, but he means you, the older Chassidim. So the Rebbe smiled and said, "Sometimes a joke is said, and it's true." Acknowledged that he was saying this, and he didn't just mean Pinya Altos, but he meant that it's not a question of age. Just as an aside, the Peretz Mochkin was the mashpia here in Montreal, and Beryl Mochkin, his son, is the head of Tzach here in Montreal, in the Quebec. So the Peretz was from the early elder Chassidim that became Mamish and Mekusher. The Rebbe once actually in Yechidus, to who was it? Do you remember? I'll remember to look it up. Yechidus to an elder Chassid or someone. I think even took out a letter of the Peretz. Like to say that even the older generation, it's a difficult transition. The Rebbe was a whole different Rabbisteve, and became Chassidim bottle. And the story goes further, and I'll give you the details. The Peretz was Farbrengen here in Montreal. In the middle of the Farbrengen, he dozed for a few minutes while they were singing in Nigen, and in that time, the Rebbe told him, Yishikoyach. He was speaking about his kashrus. It's all part of that story. I'll get the details of that. At any rate, so another snippet in the footnotes here. Next story. The Rebbe turns to someone, he says, when you, and X doesn't say, in Yiddish, mehr daven und weniger putzen sich, if you'll daven more and less putzen sich is hard to translate, but beautify yourself, be concerned with your, I guess, it means this begashmis, beruchnis, I don't know, maybe both, or maybe just begashmis. If you'll daven more and be less in that, it'll be a benefit for you and for everyone. And he told the other person that he said, there are some people, like you and your father-in-law, your shver. And then he said, in brackets, as it were, in parentheses, the shver didn't like the word shver, because shver means difficult. And he used to say, the shver soll nicht sein shver. The father-in-law should not be difficult. You listening, Yossi? Actually, not you. Yeah, Chaim has to listen. So back to the story. He says, you and your father-in-law, your shver, they said there's some people, like you and your father-in-law, this is unbelievable, that their nature is that they're always concerned someone else will take away from their dumus, their image. The truth is that what is shaykhs to you, no one in the world can take away under any circumstance. On the other hand, that which is shaykhs, honor, whatever it is, money, whatever it is, to the other person, no one can take away from him under any circumstance. So there's nothing to worry about hanging on to your own turf. On the contrary, if you will help the other one to carry out his shlichus, this will help you carry out your shlichus. This is Meidike words for shluchim. I've shared this. It's not well known. At Fabrengens, and people have asked me where's the source. And remember when there was a Fabrengen of shluchim on the telephone, and Danny Moskowitz was on the line. He called me afterwards. Where is this? He said, important video, it's being heard, but it's a very important message. Everybody's protecting their money, their sources, their people. Baruch Niyus, who is Makadev, I was Makadev, and belongs in my shul. It's my dollar. And the Rabbi says, whatever is coming to you is coming to you, and no force in the world can take you away. On the contrary, you'll help the other person. That'll be a help for you as well. It's an incredible message. And we'll conclude. There's a very light that. So someone was saying l'chaim to the Rebbe. So the Rebbe says to him, "Say l'chaim for." Doesn't say who do he said. Say l'chaim for Pinya Altos, because here he said enough l'chaim. It was like saying, "You say l'chaim for him." So Pinya was now begiluf, and again he was older than the Rebbe. This is 1954. It's a whole different relationship completely that we understand. Knock on the Rebbe's door and make. So Pinya was shaken. So Pinya says, like he's going to be mitzvah me, and he said a sharp Chassidic word that they put 3 dots. The reaction was, what's the difference who he is? He's a Yid, but Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Give me mitzvah you. This is all the banter, the exchange that is happening here towards the end of the Fabrengen. All right, friends, we continue with Hashem tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.